Drink on screen, don't you?
Well, it's trippy because I'm leaning this way, but then my camera's going the opposite way. It's just so weird.
Shoot. Well, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Tec Tony podcast. It's been a little while since I've had a podcast. I'm gonna step on my stool. I realize I'm taller when I'm on my stool. How tall are you, Kristin?
I'm 5'5".
You're 5'5". Okay. Well, welcome back to the podcast, guys. It's Tec Tony here. It's been a little while since I recorded. Lots of things have changed. Been busy. For those of you that have followed me for a while, Kristin's been here before. She's chatted on the podcast before. She's also been on TikTok as well, Instagram. You got LinkedIn and Pinterest and some other places, right?
All the things. Yep. I got TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn are my main things, and then of course Facebook. But that's the main thing, and then obviously a website.
Well, for those of you that are new who may not have heard her talk before, go back a bit of a ways in the podcast. You'll see a picture of her for the previous podcast that she was on. But for those of you that are new, the first time listening, Kristin, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell people who you are, what you do.
Yeah. So my name is Kristin Pearson. I am a website and graphic designer that specializes in helping thought leaders like professional speakers and coaches build websites that, build their credibility, spread their message, and ultimately get booked out.
You said professional speaking, correct?
That's one of my
When did you start doing that?
So this all happened in the last few months. So the last time we talked, I was just doing the side hustle thing. I was working 9 to 5 at a nonprofit, but in June 1st this year, so just like 4 or 5 months ago, was my first day of working for myself. I quit my job and now I'm doing my own thing. Yeah.
Good job. So you got the LLC and all that fun jazz.
Oh yeah. All this stuff.
Today, as of this recording with this podcast, I get to go see my CPA and stroke a check for taxes this year. So
it's so fun.
It is fun. I love being my own boss at times. Well, let me tell you this. What have you? Because I've been doing this for a little bit longer than you. Then I've been on my own for over 3 years. I've been a digital marketer for 7, but I've only actually been a company for 3 years. What have you learned? Because I'm sure there's probably people here in this podcast listening to this that haven't gone on their own, where they're their own boss.
Mm-hmm.
So what have you learned in your journey since you're a new business owner?
Yes. I learned that I cannot be everything to everyone. So me choosing a specific customer, like professional speakers and coaches, has changed everything for me. It's made me become more of a specialist so I could raise my rates and feel confident about it. It makes every conversation I have with my clients easier because I know what headspace they're in. Maybe I know the next question they're going to ask usually. So I'm more equipped to handle that. And ultimately just far more confident in my business than I was when I was trying to do a website for a forklift repairman and then an executive coach. And those were 2 very different projects, but I was trying to handle them at the same time. And I got frazzled, and now I don't anymore.
Nice. That's something that's definitely, I learned that is that you can't, my company is growing very aggressively, and you can't do everything on your own. It's so hard. And then it's hard to trust somebody because I don't have employees. I have, for lack of a better term, contractors, but the contractors I work on a daily basis so close to them. It's trust. Are you the same way as me? Do you work with anybody else? Because my team's completely remote.
Yeah, that's the goal. But like I said, it's only been a couple months. So right now I am handling everything, but very soon I'm looking to hire some people out to do the things that I don't have to do, I guess. I guess that's one of the biggest things is, there's so much stuff in my business that right now I have to be the one to do it. But, when there's things like setting up meetings or anything like that, like anybody could be doing that. So my first step is going to be probably hiring a virtual assistant pretty soon.
I need one of those. That's true. Tell me a little bit more about the public speaking part. Because the reason I said I was talking to my team and we were chit-chatting and we're differentiating our roles within the company and who handles what, because we had some issues where roles are spilling over. And I was like, hey guys, you handle this and you handle this and I handle this. And one of the things I've been thinking about that I would like to do more is giving speeches. So you're not booking the speech, you're doing the training on how to speak, correct?
Oh no,
Am I wrong? Please tell
I
me.
a little off. I am doing the websites for professional speakers specifically.
Ooh.
So yeah, so I have like a very, very small target audience that I'm reaching out to saying like, hey, I know what your website needs to look like. I know what it needs to do. Let me help you. And then I grow their business in that way.
I'm gonna need you to look at my website because no joke for real because I didn't know you did this because so I had to rebuild my website and rebranding. Like if people try to look me up, I don't have a website right now.
Mhm.
But one. So do you know Neil Patel?
Yeah.
Where him? Okay,
Well, I mean,
so
not personally, but yeah.
we know who he is. He's
Right.
pretty big in our market in our industry. Well, I was on his website, been to a couple of seminars, been with him, and then I realized on his website, I don't remember which one it is, but one of them at the bottom says, I'm kind of a big deal.com. And that's his resume website. I'm kind of a big deal.com. So I bought the URL, I'm kind of a big deal in digitalmarketing.com just to one up him
Of
on that.
course.
So I'm using that as a resume
Mhm.
site to display my work. It's not live right now. It's pretty much almost done. So that's some iron, some stuff to work out. But would that be something I would hire you to go in and look at, make sure I'm doing it right? So
Yeah.
I would love a way to give more speeches. I'm not looking right now to I would eventually like to get paid to do public speaking, but I
Mhm.
just want to give speeches more often. So that'd be an avenue that you would look into, correct?
Yeah, I would definitely recommend that because your first step to being like, a public speaker, like a keynote speaker at, conferences is probably like the big thing that you would want to do, right? Because you'd probably want to stay in the business realm, be able to spread, your knowledge of everything that you know in that sense. A lot of people that I see, they start with small summits and, virtual conferences and everything. And so having a place to send anybody that sees you at a summit or even on this podcast that they want more resources from you, that's going to be ideal instead of, Pathfinder Digital. Something that's more about you specifically
Mhm.
definitely would help because someone's not going to look up who runs Pathfinder. I want him to speak. It's like,
Who
they want to look
company?
up the expert already. They're not going to go through 4 different steps or hoops to find you.
Yeah, and that's what I'm building that site for because that was my now I'm glad I know this. We'll have to talk off screen a bit about this, but now that I know that that's what you do, that would help me because I eventually, sure, I have dreams. Do you know Austin, the Sociology Pro?
No.
He's on TikTok. He's an SEO guy. I don't know how he's done it. I'm very jealous of him because he has gotten himself a keynote speaker at some TikTok online event in person. I
Ooh.
know. I'm just like, holy cow, dude. He's like, I don't know how I did this. I'm like, I know how I did this too, but I'm jealous. So I
It's
would
you
love.
gotta ask. I just got asked to be a speaker at a summit for all like female entrepreneurs. And I'm like, I'm 4 months in. Like, okay, like I'll do it for sure. So you just gotta like look for it and reach out to people is the biggest thing is like, hey, do you need a speaker for this? Like, I bet that's how he did it.
What I've been doing a lot of is just me. So the unit Auburn, Alabama. So I'm in Alabama. So Auburn, Troy,
Mhm.
and Alabama University, I've all given speeches to. I've given speeches to the SBDC Small Business Development Center and the SBA, and then my local chambers I've been giving speeches to. And I do record and put my speeches live on YouTube so people can see me doing talks.
Mhm.
What would be your tip to be like, hey, this is what you got. This is what we were going for you to do next time, besides getting my website functioning properly?
I would change up that approach a little bit. Instead of having your entire talk videotaped, I would make more of a hype video and maybe just like some really good points that you hit throughout your speech. And so it's, a maybe up to 3-minute video. And then someone can watch that. Someone's not going to watch your half an hour speech on a
True.
video to hire you to give the exact same speech. Because they've already seen it. They might as well just share the link with their class or whatever, or whoever, their audience is. That's a lot easier. But if you're kind of hyping yourself up a little bit and on your website, really putting like your main things that you deliver to a customer or an audience. So not like, here's my entire speech, but here's the outcomes of my speech. And here's what I want you to get out of it. That is a lot more attractive to a meeting planner or whoever is going to hire you than here are the bullet points of my speech.
So should I not have myself on YouTube, like the whole thing?
I mean, you totally
Because
can
you're right.
because it shows
'Cause
proof that you
what's
know
the
what you're
point
doing.
of hiring me if the whole speech is there for free? Then they don't have to hire me. I
Yeah.
get that. That's a valid point.
I think so. How we'll go back, like let's rewind a few years. So my old job at the nonprofit that I was at for 7.5 years was, well, I had a lot of different responsibilities there, but one small part was we put on different conferences throughout the year. And so 6 times a year I was hiring keynote speakers. And I was finding that it was so difficult to find somebody that was like that I could trust.
Mm,
And so that's kind of how now, years later, I'm like, I know who I can help. I know who it is because I used to be their exact meeting planner that they were trying to work with. And I've seen speakers that deserve way more clout and way more recognition than they get, but their website or their social media or their YouTube are just not great.
mhm.
So that's why
That's
I'm
me.
now into the business part of the world.
I don't know how I do it with my clients' YouTubes and their TikToks and all that. I had a lawyer, a couple attorneys I was working with, and they're getting like 11,000 a view. And I'm just like, that's great. And I look at my TikTok, it's like 300. I'm like, oh, whatever. I guess my clients are getting the
As
love
long
they
as your
deserve.
clients are getting it, like that's fine. You could help 5 people get $1 million, like, get $1 million and you've already, revenued, like you've already generated 5 million in business for other people. Like it doesn't matter how big your audience is, as long as your impact is big.
That's true. That's right. I've been told that several times. It's very interesting to work with. I know how, like, when the websites you look at, I'm sure you have those. Oh gosh, who made this? Like, why does it exist? And for me, so I do have a web designer on my team, but I'm not like in the front end of the website. I'm in the back end, like
Mhm.
analytics, Google Tag Manager is tracking properly. A little bit of the SEO side. When you look at a website, whether it's for a keynote speaker or a small business, your client stuff, what are you trying to help? Like, what do you see? For me, it's like I run into a lot of, well, our website's not getting phone calls, but my wife made the website. I'm like,
Mhm.
well,
I focus a lot on the content that's on the website and then the design and the layout and all of that. So I do basic SEO and I set up Google Analytics for them, but I'm not monitoring that monthly for everybody. I'm not tracking that I do it for one client just because they're a high ticket client and I work with them every single month. They pay me to do
Mm,
that. So that is where that focus is. But for the most part, I'm creating websites to look really good and then to sound really good. Like I have worksheets and content planners and everything for someone to go through, fill it out so then I can put that content on the website and make it look and appeal aesthetically great.
I like how you said that, aesthetically great, because so every time I look at a website, like I'm looking at the data because you have a different eyeball than I do.
Yeah.
My website designer has a different eyeball than I do. We build websites for Google Ads purposes, make sure they're ad ready type of situation.
Mhm.
And it's just when I don't know if you try this with people. I've done this where you remove the logo and the verbiage, and then I'll tell a client, all right, look, this is what your website looks like without verbiage and without your logo on there. Can you tell me what your website is? And they'll be like, no, this doesn't look like a dentist website. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't, does it?
Yeah, the power of wireframes. Like,
Exactly. That's the problem. Yeah. Yeah. Like, what does your website look like now without your logo on it? And they go, oh, it looks just, you can't tell what it is. They stumble upon it. And it's that, and small businesses need to understand. I was told by another marketer, websites are an investment. And the purpose of it is not to display what you do, but to get people to pay you for what you do.
yeah. Yeah. And I would say that is the same thing as your social media and any kind of marketing for wanting to be a speaker. It's the same exact thing. It's not to show them exactly what they're going to get. It's to tell them what their goals are going to be or what their benefits are going to be.
I will tell you, I have taken. So last time we talked, you were talking to me about my social media, and you're like, stop posting multiple times so quickly because it looks spammy. And
It was the same exact content right away, back to back to back.
yes,
I didn't say like stop posting multiple times because obviously
no,
we all know that that's a good thing to do.
yes, it was stop making it look spammy, and
Mhm.
so I've done that, and it has helped me
Yay.
because now when I'm posting, I'm like, I remember the conversation. Okay, Kristin said, don't do this.
I do remember telling you that and being like, ooh.
Yeah, when you were talking about it, I was like, oh crap. I've been like I think I just did it that day for something.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
I still, when I see people do it, I think of our conversation as well. I'm like, well, only they would have listened to that.
Yeah. Well, go watch the Tec Tony podcast. And I did send you, so that picture I sent you on Instagram was my client who's a barber. And he was just like, he told me we're going some conversations. I was like, hey, just watch my YouTube channels. This will describe it. And it was luck that he snapped a picture of the photo, and it was our previous conversation before on what we were talking about. So I had to send it to you on Instagram. I was like, this is awesome. Doing. They're learning.
That it made my day. I was like, that's so cool.
It is. So you also have your own, it's not your web. Do you have a podcasting site too?
I don't. I am on other people's podcasts now. I guess kind of often. I had one come out yesterday or 2 days ago. It went live, and then I have another one next week that goes live. But I'm just being a guest on everybody's at this point.
I remember you mentioning you made a TikTok video. There was a very specific podcast you're on that you were excited to be on. Who was that?
Yeah, so I the one that I made, it was about Josh Hall, and he is he's a former web designer. Now he is a course creator for web designers and podcaster for that. And that's the one that went live on Monday. But next week, the big one that I'm actually even more excited about, no offense to Josh or anything.
Besides the Tec Tony podcast.
Besides the Tec Tony podcast, is so I am going live. I already did the conversation a couple weeks ago for Speakernomics. And so it is literally a podcast for professional speakers. And most of their guests are other keynote speakers, and they're talking about how to maybe raise your rates, or they're talking about different forms of keynoting, or before the pandemic started, during the pandemic, it was how to do better at virtual and make it feel like you're in the room with all the people. And I reached out to them and I was like, do you want to guest on someone that specializes in marketing your people? And they said yes right away. And so that one's going live. And I'm more excited for that one because it is my target customer right in front of them. So the other one that went live today or 2 days ago was really, really cool and very fun because it was someone that I had a kinship with. We both were in the same world. But the audience is all other web designers who I'd love to help and connect with, but I'm not really, the person that they're looking for bettering their own business, I suppose.
No, that makes complete sense. I didn't know you were doing that because like last time we talked, I thought you were on your own. I thought you already had quit your day job and did your entrepreneurship. I knew you were involved in the non-charity. I don't remember which one it was.
Yeah,
I do remember you're involved in it, but I didn't realize that you actually just launched that and in keynote speakers. How did you decide that? Like, what led to that? Because that's really niched. I've never heard that before.
It's very, very well. The thing about niching down, I was just like, I could try it, and if it doesn't work and I don't get any traction, then I'll open back up to anybody, right? But I was like, everybody that I've listened to, every podcast and course I've ever taken about web design or business has been like, find your niche, riches are in the niches, all that stuff. And so I was like, I'm just going to go for it. This is my, like I was saying, I used to hire these keynote speakers for the nonprofit that I worked for. So I was like, I already have a bunch of connections. I already know which ones probably really need help. And so I already had just at least some people to talk to. And it all stemmed from a mentor of mine who we had hired a bunch of times. I reached out to him. I was like, let me just pick your brain about something real quick. And it was just, I just asked him a bunch of questions like, if you were going to redo your website, what would you want it to do? What does yours not do right now that you wish it would? And I just asked him a bunch of questions. I literally recorded the phone call and that wrote the content for my website because it was in his words specifically that a speaker would want. And so that is what how I chose that. And besides that, I just really like speakers and coaches. I think that they are out there to serve other people and better other people's lives. And that is something that's really important to me. So why not help the people that are making good impact and lasting change on people?
And that I'm so glad you brought that up because, like I said, literally, I was talking to my team about it last night, Saturday, and I was just like, I want to get more speeches, but COVID's going to kill this. So you're doing more virtual right now. I assume the people you're working with is doing mostly virtual.
It's really mixed right now because the world is. So I do have clients that are out on college campuses right now talking, but I do have some that are also only doing virtual. So it's a mix right now, just because, it's mid-October. Some people are feeling comfortable flying and everything, but it really is a mix. I think if I can predict anything, I think in the spring, in-person events are going to absolutely blow up, because people are going to just want to get out even more than they want to now. And they want to go to conferences. They want to start learning more than from a Zoom screen. So I think there's a huge catapult that's about to happen.
I have to get on that wave. So in my industry, with being a Google Ads guy, it's a lot of people told me to niche. And what's funny is that nobody in my team, except for my mentor, niched down on something. And it was his was by accident. His niche, believe it or not, is dumpster rentals. And yeah, I know, right? And for whatever reason,
Someone's got to do it.
Yeah, he got oddly good at dumpster rentals and then dentals as well, which the two make no sense at all. And I asked him, how did you do things? And not by choice. It was just I got like 4 or 5 dental clients and then 4 or 5 dumpster clients, and then it just worked. So when you go to his website, that's all. It's dumpster, PPC for dumpsters and PPC for dentals. The two have nothing to do with each other.
That's amazing.
Yeah, well, here in Dothan, Alabama, where I live and started working, I couldn't niche down because there wasn't enough of one thing to niche in. And so what I learned with other marketers, I'm sure you've seen it in your industry as well. In your industry as well. There's just people that do really bad work. And you're just like, you paid how much for this? And you feel upset that someone would do this because it just puts a stain on your industry. And so what I started doing was getting all my Google licensing, which this year I finally became a Google partner.
Nice.
It was, the test was atrocious. And my mentor was like, I'm glad you've passed. I'm all, why? He's like, because when I took my test, I threw up afterwards.
Oh no.
Google doesn't hand this out lightly. And
no,
so,
I can't imagine.
Yeah. And so he told me that, and this year I got that. And it's like so we decided not to niche. We decided to go ahead and just help in Google in general, because just like with website design, it's a black box for businesses, especially small businesses, that I've seen them do this, where they go, you're the youngest kid in my company, you make me a website, or you make me a Facebook page. And then this 19-year-old is just like, I guess I'm posting stuff correctly.
Right.
I feel so bad for these businesses. And so that's what we decided to do. I guess if I had to decide, we niched in Google. We didn't really niche in a particular industry.
Yeah. I don't think you have to. I think that it's the path that has worked for me, especially because I am currently a one-woman show. It's like it works, and I get referrals from people and they tell their friends and all of that. And so that's just how it's worked for me. I think if somebody and then their small business is struggling and they haven't niched down, just try it. Like just for a web designer, it's a little bit, it was a little bit easier for me, or I guess I understood what I needed to do. And that was, make up some fake clients and create a website and be like, was that easy for me or no? And then whenever I started working with coaches, I kind of ran through and I was like, okay, this is what I did wrong on my fake websites. This is what they actually want. And I just kept refining. And so now, a few months in of clients, it's been booked out. Like it just works for me. So I would just recommend, if somebody is struggling, maybe try it out. Try to specialize in something and then expand.
So with you working with people, giving speeches, and you've been in podcasts, are you planning yourself to give any speeches in person, public, anything coming down the pipeline?
I would love to. And like I said, I just got asked to be a part of a summit next month. And so that'll be the first time that I'm kind of speaking specifically in this. And it was another role that I had in my previous job. The more you talk to me, you'll learn that I literally did a little bit of everything there. So I did a lot of actually traveling and consulting with students. We worked in the college student space, but I traveled. I was going on to campuses. I was giving speeches. I was doing workshops. I was doing that in front of conferences of 600 people and all of that.
Wow.
So I loved it. And it was one of the few things that made me nervous still. And I was like, this feels good. Like it felt good. It felt like adrenaline almost, like once you get off stage, and I'm just like, I loved it. So now that I'm working with professional speakers, the coolest thing is I get to learn so much from them. And now one of my clients is actually, he reached out to me 2 days ago and he was like,
Mm.
can I mentor you? And like, cause he owns an agency. And so, who knows if maybe in a couple years, if I can refine my skills, that maybe I am doing, actual speeches again.
Besides the website and the training, are you doing anything else for them? Are you handling are you handling their social media
Yes.
or okay. So
Yep.
it's
Yep.
all
For that one. Yeah. For my main client specifically that I've done just everything for, and cause I adore them. We work really well together. And so they're wonderful. Yeah. So I do their agency's social media, and each speaker has my, direct contact to me. And I've been doing, the PowerPoints for them as well. So they'll send me their PowerPoints. I make them look a lot better and more refined. And then just today I was doing training with one of the speakers of how he can now take his beautiful PowerPoint and update it with every speech he has and how to do all of that. So it's a little bit of a mix, but it's a lot of fun because I've done, a little bit of graphic, a little bit of web, and now PowerPoints, and all along the way, just continuing to learn.
If people want to hire you or find you, what's the best ways they can do? I know I got your TikTok scrolling down the bottom.
Yeah. My biggest thing is my website. So it would be kristinpearson.com.
And what type of business will be perfect? Will be the perfect person? Because obviously you don't want. I don't think you want a flower shop reaching out to you.
No,
But
it's mainly speakers.
unless they're looking to give talks about flowers.
I mean, if someone wants to, for sure. I would love to. If anybody does need any help with their website, reach out. I mean, I do have availability and everything, so I can always help. Or at least if it doesn't feel like the right fit, I have a lot of connections into the web design world now that I know I can help them find their perfect web designer if it's not me. But yeah, just kristinpearson.com. And it is, a lot of it is centered towards coaches and speakers, but would love to work with a lot of people. I'm open to it.
Fantastic. Kristin, thank you for being back on the show again. Can you believe it's been over a year? It's been over a year.
Has it really? Oh man, a lot of life has happened since then.
A lot has happened. It's like, hey, I'm still in business. That's good to know.
That's like, I bought a house since then. That's why I know that I wasn't. I know specifically that I hadn't quit my job yet because I bought my house and I quit my job the next month. And I remember specifically our video is I was in my apartment. So that's how I know the timeline.
Yeah. Where are you right now? Are you in a home office or?
I am in my home office. Yep. We bought a 3-bedroom. And so one of the rooms it is going to be my office. So it's the one with the most windows. It's the best lighting and it's perfect.
I remember that TikTok. You didn't post very many, but you posted about when you did get the house.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a whirlwind and we were very lucky even in the housing market right now, but we got one. We got it at what's it called? Like whatever they offered for it or the asking price. Wow. We got it for asking price and closed like right immediately. So it's been fun.
Shoot. Well, guys, regardless of what, go follow Kristin on her TikTok. She does give out a ton of free content and a ton of free value, as well as a little bit every once in a while into her life. Also,
you'll probably see a cat every now and then, or
a cat every now and then as well. But she's been great, and you'll definitely learn that, as you guys have heard me mention this podcast, of a couple lessons I've applied in my business that have helped me as well. Other than that, until then, guys, next week, y'all have some happy marketing. Take care.